Greetings, beloved souls, and happy Thursday. Welcome to the live stream of I Am Hillis, being Omni. And this week is very special, very, well, I won't say special, but every week has been special. Every week I've been revealing layers of myself and asking and answering questions that could assist you in your own personal evolution and expressing how I got here and how I got to be the man that sits before this camera that is open and allowing myself to be of service. That's what this journey has been about. It's really hasn't been about, you know, me projecting or being anything that I'm not. Is has always been me sitting in my truth, being authentic in who I am. And I'm happy that you've been sitting with me for the past few weeks in this journey of monologues. And you guys are more than welcome to put any questions in the chat. I am more than happy to answer them to assist you on your personal journey because that's what this has been about. How did I get from A to B and B to C and so forth? So how did I arrive here at this point? How did I know that I wanted to be this omni-resonance architect? How did I know I wanted to be a psychic? How did I know I wanted to be all these things? And that's what this journey has been about. But before I get into tonight's question, I just want to let everyone know that on August 8th, be sure to sign up if you're interested and I have 9 spots left. So if you guys want to sign up for the Trauma to Treasure virtual event on August 8th, which is the Lionsgate, go to hillispew.com/all links. Click the link there or click the link in the description. You guys can register there. It is going to be a very nourishing event where we walk through the process of you clearing your trauma, clearing your pain, and just the beginning of something new for yourself. So click on the link in the description and we can move forward. And I look forward to being of service to you, to all of you, in whatever capacity you choose and desire to be. So I want to hear from some of you guys because I think I know who's on tonight. I think I know who's on tonight. And the question of the night is, how do I maintain my healing over time? This particular question, how do I maintain my healing over time? This has been something that's been ever morphing. It has been something that has, like anything in my life, changed with me, it grew with me. Before I really started my path, my healing was gym time. I was always in the gym, you know, 90 minutes, 2 hours easily. And on Saturdays, I loved Saturdays because I would get up, go to the gym, be there at 7 o'clock in the morning, do my regular workout routine. And then after that, I would do my boot camp class. So I was easily in the gym with 3.5, close to 4 hours, including, warm up, workout, cool down, all of that. And I was, not that I'm not now, but I was in really good shape. And so as I progressed and moved forward, as my life changed, my self-care had to change with it. Figuring out what to eat, what not to eat, what was agreeing with me, how could I increase longevity? So how did I maintain all of that was through self-study. Self-study is the key to maintaining your health. Self-study and listening to the body is the key to really understanding who you are, because who you are is ever changing. And once we get to the space of acceptance of that we are always evolving, no matter what age you're at, you create this space of nurturing yourself, nurturing your body, nurturing your soul, because that's what it comes down to. When I was teenager, you know, I would eat any and all things. And that didn't quite change until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I began to refine my habits, my eatings, because at this time I didn't have a meditation practice. I didn't have anything that I was grounded or connected to. I didn't have any of that. I just worked out, did what I did, and that was that. But it wasn't until in my early to mid 30s I began to solidify a meditation practice. I would listen to all the, dare I say, gurus, all the teachers, all the teachers at the time. Reading books. Was and still am an avid book reader. So it's through the knowledge of reading these books and understanding what the other teachers have done and understanding those who have walked this path before. How could I incorporate what they've done into my life? Everyone from Neil Donald Walsh to Dr. Michael Beckwith to all these amazing teachers, and some of which I have the honor of interviewing. You know, how could I mimic my life to be like theirs? So I read their books and I began meditating. I began to journal. I began to understand myself because that's essentially what it is. How to maintain that space is by understanding self through the repetition, through the understanding, through the growth, through the expansion. Because as we change, we expand. And sometimes we contract too, which is fine. Because when we contract, we make room for self. We make room for what we want in our lives in the space of contraction when we squeeze out the unnecessary, when we squeeze out the undesirables, the undesired energy, all the people, places, the jobs, anything that is no longer in alignment with self. But how do we do that? How do we get there? Is only through the space of self analysis. We only get to the point of where we want is by self analysis, by understanding who am I now and how was I different before? Did I like myself in that moment? Heck yeah. Being up and out all night and dancing and partying and all these things. But now as I grow, I still go out dancing. I still do the things that I love, but I do them in a way that honors self. And this is what this is. The path to maintaining is also honoring self, knowing what you need at that time, understanding that it is routine, it is repetition that keeps you in that space. It's really living in that energy. And so, uh, yes. Yes, Christine. Yeah, I think we've all done the whole guru thing and transcendental meditations. We've all done the popular stuff, right? But what really changed for me, it was back in 2013, 2014. What really changed is when I started doing plant medicine. That's really changed and really helped to solidify my practices. Don't get me wrong, I was meditating before then, but I wasn't consistent with it. I was doing all these things because in my 30s was like a transitional time. It was like this time in my life of like really moving and cultivating. Where am I going? What am I doing? What's happening? What do I want to do? In between jobs because I lost my business, relationship, all this stuff that happened. All the stuff that happened that was in a great transition. And in the space of transitions, we try new things, we figure out new things, we're learning more about ourselves. And that's key in the space of maintenance is understand what's working, understand what's not working. And right now for me, what's working is having my routine, is I meditate every morning, meditate every night without fail. Because that's how I have to keep myself at a certain level through my space of expansion of being of service to you guys. Because it's in that space of, okay, well, what's working today? What am I allowing today? What is serving me today to stay at this particular frequency? And when you figure it out, and your body tells you, your body talks to you, and this is working, this isn't working. When you feel good energetically, mentally, emotionally, your body tells you. And it's in this space of understanding and how to communicate with your body. When you are in these aches and pains, for example, now that I am pesca vegan, not that I eat a lot of fish these days, but when I accidentally have something that has dairy in it, and it could be just a minuscule amount, I get congested almost instantly. And I'm like, that had dairy in it. That has something in it my body doesn't like. And my body tells me, so I know the protocol for myself to help even get rid of that little bit. My body can process it, but it's just like, okay, it's fine. I guess I'll go through my protocol to eliminate what I need to eliminate from my body. And it is in this space of understanding that when you develop this relationship with your body, that you know what you need. Just like I think I told the story before, is when I was, it was the morning time of a shamanic ceremony, plant medicine ceremony. And, this was still in my early days. And I asked the shaman, it's like, well, why do you get to eat steak for breakfast or for lunch, whatever time of day it was? Because when you do plant medicine, you lose track of time. And it's like, and we have to eat really clean, et cetera, et cetera. And he says to me, he's like, well, I'm the one doing all the work. I'm the one channeling all this energy. I got to keep my energy up for you guys. I'm like, oh, fair enough. And so when you begin to have this relationship with self, you know what you need when you need it. And that's what's important. When you have the relationship with self, you know what you need when you need it, whether it's meditation, whether it's rest, whether it's a particular food, particular minerals, your body speaks to you. And when you understand that language, you then can support that in that space. Even now, as I'm going through this expansion, I mean, like this huge expansion, the energy for the past few weeks, whew, it's been a lot. I don't know if you guys have been feeling it. And sometimes, when I'm in the space of expansion, I have a few friends I talk to. It's like, are you feeling this? Are you feeling this? It's like, yeah, we feel it. And so everything that is catching up to everyone else, like in the past week or past few days, you know, people who are not my peers feel it. But people who are my peers, we felt the energy incoming like a few weeks ago. And I'm like, is this really happening? It's like, yeah, this is what happened. Okay, good. Thank you for the confirmation. So people in my circle of peers, sometimes we feel these shock waves prior to anyone else. So I understand and know what's coming before anyone else does. So it's just kind of cool in that sense. It's like, oh yeah, I have this uh what is it, precognition of what's to come before everyone else does. It could be a few days, a few weeks, and then everyone else gets it. I'm like, okay, well, this is how we navigate this. This is how we understand this energy. And it has to be that way sometimes. Simply because if there's these big shifts and waves and transitions, and if we all get it at the same time, we all are in this muck or this great transitional space. So, which is why some of us receive this energy early so that way we can understand how to navigate it And once we understand how to navigate it, we can then articulate this space of navigation to everyone else. I don't do it as much as my peers. I don't do as many lives or videos to talk about this stuff, but my private clients, we talk about it all the time. And so in this space of maintenance, of expansion, because this is what is happening now. This is what I want to really hit home with before we conclude for tonight is in the space of expansion, we have to give ourselves grace. Sometimes our routine isn't our routine. Sometimes we have to shift, change, modify what needs to be modified for us to integrate, for us to adjust to the frequencies, to adjust to the new information, to the new light that we are receiving. And in the space of expansion, when we give ourselves that grace, we then can open up even more, like a lotus or like a rose. It is in that space of, yes, there it is. And whatever method that is utilized, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling, or whatever method that is utilized, the reason why we have these particular tools is for us to anchor into the physical reality, whether we're in fourth density or fifth density or higher. It is in the physical space where we have to anchor in that energy. And once we're anchored into that energy, into that realm, everything will begin to flow. Everything will begin to make more sense because we can play, I know I can, in the ethers all day long. I mean, that's where I have my joy and my fun, especially in lucid dreaming and planning and having fun and being the Gemini, being this air sign. I live in the ethereal. But yet, I have to remember that I have to ground and connect into the physical space to anchor this in. And anchoring this in makes everything real. And that's what it is in the space of maintenance, because we have this physical vessel. We have the nervous system, the meridian system. We have our chakra system. We have our auras. We have a macabre. We have all these unseen energetic fields that communicate to the physical space, because our fields are the invisible communicators to the physical body, to our mind, to our emotions, to all of it. And once we allow ourselves to sit in the space of mastering our emotions, mastering our mental thoughts, mastering all of this, right? All of this physical space, we then can navigate fluidly through the changes and maintaining that. There was something I was about to say and it just in and out, because I was so passionate about this fluidity, about anchoring all of this in. So if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, as I am in the moment of wanting to recall this thought. And it's in the interest of really being present. You know, we have all these tools, whether if it's and I know I'm sounding like I'm repeating myself, and I'm just wanting to recall this thought because it was important. It was an important thought. Um, geez, where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Um, yeah, I lost it. I lost the thought. Um, oh, that's a really good question. Thank you, Christine. How did you get started with plant medicine? So, for those who've been following me for the past few weeks, this has been a reoccurring thing. And me being with plant medicine is just it seemed like the natural evolution of what I was going through because, like I mentioned, in my 30s, I was going through a lot. And a dear friend of mine, who I was seeing at the time, she was a psychic and a healer. And she said to me, "Like, Hillis, I'm going down to Peru to do ayahuasca." And I'm like, "What's that? What's ayahuasca?" So we met, had lunch. She told me all about what it was. And so when I come back, I tell you all about my experience. I'm like, okay. At the same time, simultaneously, this is how the universe works. Simultaneously, I started seeing this guy who I ended up dating for a very long time, who I'm still friends with and still love to this day. And he was telling me, he's like, I'm going to go to a space in upstate New York and I'm going to do ayahuasca. And I'm like, what? Universe, you're sending me people that are having these experiences almost within a couple of months apart from each other. And so then what made it even more coincidental, my friend, because mind you, I was living in Chicago at the time. And then, a little bit after, I moved to Brooklyn. So my friend who I met with, and she had her experience. She came to New York, to Brooklyn after I moved, and she told me all about her plant medicine experience. And at the same time, they're exchanging stories. And oh wait, no, that was a little bit later. In fact, I went too far ahead. But anyway, but that's how I got started by the universe synchronizing the stories of these individuals, of people who are one person who has been in my life for a while, another person who I just met. And I was always curious about this because I heard it once before and I began to inquire more and inquire more. And so I had my first experience in 2013, I believe. It was 2013 when I had my first experience. So it's been about 13 years I've been with plant medicine, and my first experience was really amazing. Following the protocol, following all the instructions, because you just can't do this. And so it was my curiosity that allowed me to get started because I knew there's always something more. And with me, with the Gemini mind, always inquisitive. I say, there's always more, there's always more, there's always more, which is why presently I'm always learning and always growing. That's why, I'm never going to stop doing what I do. I'm never going to stop not being. And so that has contributed a lot to my expansion by being open to these teachers. And it was in the past few years that I have refrained from calling them plant medicine because they're not medicine, they're teachers. So when you begin to understand the earth and how the earth works and how old the earth is and how old the universe and galaxy is, when you begin to understand it from that perspective, that the earth, along with all her teachers, the great teachers, they teach you, they show you who you are, humanity, the collective individual. They show you these things that are you. And that has continuously piqued my curiosity at the soul level, which is why I do what I do. Because when I learned about myself, I want to share it with other people. And this is why I do what I do. I maintain my level of wellness to be of service. That's my why and why I do anything, to be of service, maintaining my level of wellness to be of service to all of you. Because if I'm not well, I can't be of service. If I don't have that wisdom or knowledge to access, I can't be of service. If I'm not knowing and understanding myself at the soul level, which is the mirror for other people, I can't be of service. This is just the natural flow. This is just how things operate. So when you begin to understand your flow and how to maintain your level of equilibrium, maintaining your level of worth and of value, maintaining all of this, when you maintain this, and when you receive this information, this wisdom, this light, you then can allow yourself to be open. Say, this is it. This is who I am. And you can ask yourself, how do I maintain this? How do I keep this level? How can I grow and expand? And you can even ask yourself, how do I expand? How can I grow? And the universe will always respond. The question is, are you listening? Are you ready to receive the answer when it shows up? This is part of that process. We are not just maintaining, we are growing and evolving. And it is through this process of growth and evolution that we allow ourselves to be more. Hmm. We are always allowing ourselves to be more. We can stay stuck if we want to. That's fine. That's your that's your prerogative. That's your choice. But there's so much joy and growth, be it painful and uncomfortable at times. A lot has to do with being patient. It's in that space of being patient. So thank you, my dear Christine. I can't wait to connect with you this weekend. I can't wait. Um, yeah, sorry. She's one of my clients, and I love her dearly. Her personal story and growth in such a short time has been amazing. Um, so yeah. So anything else that anyone else wants to ask before I conclude for tonight? Because that thought never came back. The thought never came back. Maybe it was expressed in another way, but it never came back because I'm just going to wait for a few moments here to see if there's another question that comes in. Now, that's the only thing with lag, with doing this virtually. I know sometimes I can bring people on camera. Now, one part I probably will do. But when you're typing, it takes a little bit. So then, technology needs to, well, it will be better in the coming months, years even, to catch up with instantaneous interaction other than, just putting people on camera. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so very much. And allowing me to share my journey with you so you guys get to know me and why I do what I do and how I do what I do. And the how, if you guys are signed up for August 8th, you'll learn more about the how I do what I do. Then on August 8th, click the link in the bio for that, for the Trauma to Treasure virtual event. There are 9 spots left. I look forward to being of service to you guys. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I cannot wait until, uh, oh, I think it came back. Yes. It came back. It came back. So part of my maintenance is I don't know if you guys have been watching my social media. I'm going to put up a couple more in the next few days, but some of the things that I do on a daily basis, part of my routine, part of my maintenance is part of my self-care is, you know, elixirs, being an alchemist, being an energy practitioner. You learn new things. And one of the things I'm going to post a video probably tomorrow about my morning elixir, as I call it, to help maintain my frequency, maintain my energy, maintain it all. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago that I put up a video about my morning porridge. So that is also key too in all of this. What you eat, what you drink, what you think, all of that. And having the intentions when you make it is also key because you're putting love into everything, putting the energy into your thoughts, putting energy into what you're doing, putting the thoughts, the energy, the love into creating something that's good for your body. And when you bless, I'll say thank you to the water, thank you for your food. It could just be a simple thank you, and that's enough. Because the attention is here on the heart, the love that you are projecting into what you create for self is returned. It comes from the earth and it is given back to self. And that is the space. That's what I wanted. That's what it was. That's the thought. That was the thought. Yay! That was the thought. Um, so it's just in that space of really allowing for that to happen, to for that to really come back to self. And so that is in that energy of self. So thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I can't wait to share more with you next week. And remember, everything begins and ends in love. Till next week, beautiful souls. Have an amazing time.